Today we have with us a special guest, Selvin Lopez. He is a fashion designer at Guess. Yeah, you heard that right. It is Guess. Prior to that, he was at Kellwood. He studied design at Parsons in New York. And he is also a musician who plays bass at his local church. So, Selvin, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We're trying to survive this heat, right?
Yeah, it's really hot.
Super hot.
This heat wave, and you live in Santa Clarita,
I live
right?
in Santa Clarita, and it's like over 100 degrees out
man.
there. Yeah.
I don't know. Santa Clarita is just. I feel like it gets really hot, and there's nothing there. So I just feel like I'm just gonna be.
It's just
by
mountains. Yeah.
You know, my wife and
Yeah.
I just so we got married not that long ago, and we moved to Anaheim, and we thought the weather was perfect,
Okay.
but like it was like the typical Southern California, and we recently moved to Tahunga, and it's like pretty much the valley, and it's gross. And
Wow.
then we come to here, like, if for those who don't know, we're in Van Nuys, and it's yesterday, right? It was like 110
It was super hot.
It
Yes.
was,
Yes.
it was ridiculous. I don't know. I had to stay indoors pretty much all day. I had to be in. I had to be in the AC.
I went to the beach, so I had a good.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yes, because it was
Oh,
just
man.
too hot, and I was like, no, I have to get out.
Oh yeah,
What
100%.
beach did you go to?
I went to Marina del Rey.
Marina
is
del
that
Rey.
it? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
nice
Marina
there.
del Rey.
Nice. Did
And
you just
yeah.
go and relax? And
Yeah.
just-
It was a nice.
But
evening.
anyway, Selvin, so you are a fashion designer. That's awesome.
I'm a fashion designer.
That's
yes.
awesome.
Wow,
So tell us-
that's crazy.
How did you become a fashion designer?
How did I become a fashion designer? Right after I graduated from high school, I had
Where did you graduate from?
Birmingham High School in the Valley.
In the valley.
Here in the Valley.
Yeah.
And I remember I had no idea what I wanted it to do. And so I went to college. I went to Pierce College, and I took some classes in Pasadena City College.
Okay.
And
a nice school.
so, yeah, really nice school. I did my 2 years there. And I actually took more than 2 years because I started, just taking a bunch of classes.
Yeah.
So I took a bunch of like psychology classes
Yeah.
and philosophy
course.
and business and art.
Well, that's a
And
place to do it because
It is.
it's pretty much free.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is free.
It's super cheap. So at the time, I got a job at the Gap in retail.
Did you work at the
Did you?
Gap?
Yes. And
Wow, I work at the Gap.
You worked at too.
No way.
Yeah,
you
he
did?
worked at Actually,
Oh
the
my
jeans I'm wearing right now
gosh.
are the
I
same
got 'em the
jeans
discount.
That's
that I
awesome.
have. Right?
Yes.
How long ago did I buy these jeans from you? Gosh.
I want to say like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Wait,
I
what
have-
store did you work
So
in?
I worked at 3 different Gaps.
Uh-huh.
I worked at the one at Culver City.
Okay.
Wait, is it Culver? No, I'm sorry. On Avenue of the Stars. I don't know if you know LA well. There's this
No.
mall there. But I started there, and then I worked at the Grove. At the Grove.
I worked there too.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
I worked there for like 2 years, and I was in the kids section.
Okay.
Did you work adults?
I was doing adults.
And then after that, I moved to Brea for college, and I started working there for a little bit. But,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
But
so
that's awesome.
weird. Oh my god.
So like, what year did you work there?
Oh my gosh, that must have been in early 2000s.
Okay.
Yeah, something
Okay.
like that, like 2005.
Right.
So we probably wouldn't know the same
No?
people. Yeah. No, because
Okay.
I was there 2010, 2011.
Okay.
Something like that, yeah.
Well, I started here in Ventura. I remember
Okay.
that
Oh,
I
nice.
drove, by the Gap on Ventura,
On
and
Ventura.
I was like, wow, that store looks really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, sure enough, I go in, I get an application, and 3 weeks later, I was working at the Gap.
Nice.
And then, like 2 years after that, I became a manager.
Wow. You were
So
a manager?
you managed the
So
store.
I was just like super excited because they gave me the keys, and I was opening the store in the mornings
Yeah.
and counting petty
Yeah.
at night, and it was just that's where I got my experience in retail.
In retail.
Yeah. So that's when I was like, you know what? And I was being very naive because I was
Right.
thinking I can just get my own place and
Mm-hmm.
put some tables, put some fixtures, some tea stands, and create my own clothing.
Wow.
Wow.
And I mean, but of course, it's not that easy.
We know.
Yeah.
Wait, so,
And
so your
that-
interest in kind of like, kind of getting your feet wet with clothes, and, it kind of started because of the Gap,
because
right?
of the Gap,
Wow.
and not so much because I like clothing, but I just thought that the idea of having that business,
Like it's
Yeah.
possible to do.
I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I can do something
You
here.
can start your own business.
Right.
And so that's when I decided to go to FITM, and I did my 2 years there.
How was your experience at FITM?
Um,
Like, did you like it?
I mean, to be honestly, I kind of didn't like it, just because it was just strictly fashion.
Oh,
And,
right.
and so, like I said, I was taking all these classes in college, and I was, thinking about Aristotle and Plato, and I was
yeah.
like, this is all fashion.
FITM is like runway dresses almost.
Yeah, and they go by I don't know what they're called, trimesters.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Oh,
they don't
right,
get
right.
like full semesters.
Okay.
I mean, I did finish school there, and like I said, I did. Right after that, I went to work for BCBG.
Okay.
So I was very blessed.
How did you
and
get that job?
It was a completely different world back then.
Right.
I think this was before the economic
Before 08.
the
08,
before
09.
08,
Yeah.
yeah. And so I just applied online. I remember that. I don't think you can do that now because it's just so tough
It's
right now.
saturated.
Yeah,
It's very saturated.
there's not a lot of guys in the industry. I think that that kind of helped me out too.
Right. Yeah.
And like I got that job at BCBG, and so I was super excited. I was like, dude, like,
Yeah.
Yeah. And what were you doing at BCBG?
I was doing. So I started out with men's.
Okay. So
Yeah,
men's
so I did men's, and yeah, I was just an assistant designer. I was creating line sheets. I was, doing the rookie stuff.
Right. So when someone wants to like go into this industry and let's say do what you do, the kind of starting title or job title is an assistant designer, right?
Yes. You
Okay.
go in as a assistant designer.
And I mean that's how you learn, right?
Yeah, that's how you learn.
Yeah.
So what kind of clothes does this company like make? Like
BCBG?
yeah.
BCBG, I mean, they make everything.
They do.
Right.
They make,
Do you know them?
just
I've never heard of them. Yeah.
from women's to, I know they have a kids line.
Okay.
But they do a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
They do a lot of knitwear too.
Okay.
I was gonna say Marciano, but Max, it's Max. He's French, and so
He's like the main designer, like
yeah, he's
Okay.
like the owner of the company.
He's the owner of the
yeah,
company,
Max
okay.
is the owner of the company, and I don't know if he's still there or not. Maybe not. But they're French, and I remember they would get a lot of people from France and bring them over. And it was a little crazy too because like they couldn't understand what I was saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how did you
And-
communicate?
Yeah,
with
it
them?
was
wait. Let me get this straight. So they were outsourcing.
They were outsourcing
bringing
their
in
people.
employees
Yeah.
from France, like designers.
And I mean, in a way, it's smart because European aesthetic it's different from even New York and LA.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's why they're so successful because they had the right people. But inside the company, it was a little crazy because I had to work with a bunch of French
people. Did you
speaking
learn
people.
any French?
I didn't. No, I was too young, and yeah.
And
I messed
did
it
you
up.
ever feel like you were butting heads with maybe your aesthetic as growing up in LA versus the aesthetic that was being brought from France?
Well, the thing was that I my experience was the Gap,
Right.
very basics.
Right.
And so to work with them, that was a huge experience for me.
Yeah.
So I was, taking as much as I could, I was
you were
like,
learning
wow,
a
I
lot.
was just learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember just working with this awesome pattern guy
Yeah.
from France. And he was like, Selvin, do this, and this is how it's done. And he was just teaching me stuff that he learned in France
Right.
that
Wow.
it was completely different from what I had learned at FITM.
Wow.
And
So it was like for you, it was just I'm soaking all of this in.
Yeah. I
This
was
is all
super
great.
excited, and
Yeah.
and But like I said, I made a lot of mistakes because I was like, I'm in a row. So,
Yeah.
I was like, this is cool, but I want more experience. And so that's when I got my second job at Lucky Brand Jeans. And
Wow, you
Wow.
worked for Lucky?
I work for Lucky. Yeah.
Lucky
yeah.
Brand
Yeah.
Jeans.
A funny story is like I never knew what Lucky was, but
Uh-huh.
my mom is like big into like brand names. I never have been. I was like,
Okay.
it looks good, it looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she would always come home with like jeans and be like, "Oh, try these on." I'm like, "Yeah,
Mhm.
they're cool." She's like, "Oh, well, those are Lucky brands." So
Yeah, like they're
high end.
They're
And
high
I was
end.
like, I
Yeah.
guess. And so
Wait, you think they're high end?
I don't know.
Okay.
She would just
Okay, I
like
don't
play it.
think-
She would play them as high end because they are pricey.
they are
right? The
very
jeans?
pricey jeans.
Lucky jeans.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I don't shop too much, but I would think that jeans, I don't know, like maybe
I'm a
30.
leave-
They're about $60.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
50, 60
That's like
bucks.
what Gap
which,
is, right?
That's about Levi's too.
Yeah.
I'm a Levi's person. I wear
Yeah,
Levi's.
so I mean,
So how was Lucky? Tell us about
depends.
Lucky.
Lucky, it was very different to BCBG.
Right.
I mean, they were just a few blocks from each other.
Are they both in LA?
They're yes, they're by Alameda.
Okay.
In downtown.
Yeah, we know
Downtown.
Yeah, like Fruitland and what is that street called? Alcoa, I think.
Okay. So
But they're somewhere around there.
Yeah, they're in
and yeah, it was just it was Lucky was a smaller company,
Oh,
so
wow.
it was it was
How long were you there for?
maybe like 2 years. Yeah, yeah.
2 years. And
But
what were you doing at Lucky Brand?
again, the same thing.
Same thing.
It was
Same
assistant
things.
designer,
Assistant
right?
designer,
Assistant
and
designer.
just trying to learn a lot and doing a lot of sketching, a lot of flat sketching.
So you can draw.
Sourcing. I can draw figures, yeah. But if
Right,
you
like-
ask me to draw like
cartoons or
like
something.
you or somebody,
Or
yeah,
something.
I'm
right,
like yeah,
portrait?
no,
Yeah,
the
no, that's very
portrait.
difficult, but you can sketch, right?
Yeah, I
'Cause they
can
teach you how to
sketch. Yeah, I'm so used to it,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I was there for a while, and I was still in my early 20s, so I was like, or mid 20s, I should say. And that's when I was like, okay, I need more of this, like I need to go for it. And that's when I decided to move to New York,
New York.
Yeah.
That's a
The
big
Apple,
move.
huh?
the Big Apple. Yeah,
That's a big move.
yeah. Have you guys been to the Big Apple?
I have not.
I have
No?
not.
It's a
Weren't you supposed
whole
to go?
different.
I
place.
was supposed to go, but things change.
Yeah.
How was
COVID.
that though?
Oh, I learned a lot. Yeah, definitely.
So
just
while
just,
you
just
were-
from being in school, from working out there, from like just living in the
Yeah.
city.
So when you
learn so
went
much.
when you went to New York, you decided to go back to school, right?
I decided to go back to school because I only had my AA.
Okay, so you got your AA from
Yeah,
FITM.
yeah.
And then in New York, you decided to attend where?
Parsons.
Parsons,
Yeah.
and that's where you got your bachelor's.
Parsons School of Design. Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds expensive. Was that expensive?
It was very expensive. Yeah. No. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just living in New York is expensive.
Oh, I can
Man.
imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I moved to New York, and I was pretty lucky because it's not an easy school to get into.
Oh wow.
So I just remember putting a big portfolio of just
Together?
a bunch of drawings, and I took a few classes at Pasadena in live drawing.
Right.
Right. To
And-
get to
yeah,
get
yeah,
better
yeah,
sketching.
yeah. Because FITM, I mean, they're not. I guess that's one of the things that I didn't really like.
Right.
And so I did that. Moved to New York. Can I tell my story?
Yeah,
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 absolutely.
absolutely. Please.
So, like, when I left, I remember that I told my parents that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna move to New York, and I'm not coming back because I was like, I'm gonna be in New York in the big
Yeah,
city,
yeah.
and so like, why would I want to come back to LA? Like
right.
that was just
New York.
yeah, New York, and so. But yeah, so I moved to New York. I got into Parsons, and you know what? Parsons. Do you guys know Tom Ford,
Yeah.
Yep.
Mark Jacobs?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
so they graduated from
Wow.
Parsons.
So that's
Wow,
a
this is-
big this is a
This is
top notch.
top
Yeah,
notch.
yeah, it's a pretty good school.
For
I
those
would say.
who would say like, oh, I want to go to Parsons or like a school similar, do
Mm-hmm.
you think that the fact that yes, you went to school, but you also got experience like at places like Lucky.
Oh yeah,
Do you
that
think
helped me out
a lot,
really
right?
a lot after
Yeah.
I was done with school. I mean, it helped me big time.
It's almost like they look at your profile and they're like, okay, this guy's serious because he's actually
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
working, and
yeah.
we're not just gonna teach him just
Yeah,
to
and
be
and
there.
it's still helping me today. Like when they see my resume,
Yeah.
they see the companies that I work for.
And how was your experience at Parsons? Like, how was it teaching? Like, were there
Oh,
amazing
okay.
teachers?
So there it was just very I mean, because you get the intellectuals from New
Really?
York, and so that I really love
Like
because
they worked for like top companies.
yeah, I mean, one of my professors he had graduated from Yale.
Wow.
Wow.
And he pushed us, he's like, you guys are graduating from Parsons. You guys are Parsons students.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is like,
It's almost like you're already that
yeah.
good.
So
Yeah,
they,
you're really
they
good to
push
get in.
you. They push
Yeah.
you like mentally, like you need to be and because for good reasons. If you're gonna live in New York, you need to be.
It's a very competitive and
It's
very
very
saturated.
competitive. Yeah. So you better be on your game. And so I did. I ended up doing 4 years there.
Okay.
And so I
But
got
because
my
it was spread out, right? Like you were
yeah,
working.
so I had to get. I did a 2 years of general education, which I
Oh,
loved
okay.
because I learned just things from like architecture because it's a design school.
Yeah.
And so and you're in New York and you
Right.
get to go to a bunch of cool museums and
Right.
that's where you do your assignments and you get to know other people, other artists, other the students that
Yeah.
so it was a really great experience. And so I did my 4 years there. I got a bachelor's, and
So it's almost like a lot of the credit, a lot of your credits didn't transfer over because Parsons wanted you to.
yeah, because
like, we wanna
remember
teach
the
you.
We
film
wanna
it was
teach you.
it was like
Alright.
trimesters.
Yeah.
And so they couldn't take some of the classes. They
Took
did
some.
take some,
A few.
but I was missing a lot.
And during these 4 years at Parsons, were you working?
I was not working.
Okay.
No,
So you were doing
no.
full-time
I was
school.
doing because it was a very intense school, and
Right.
I think I would have gone crazy.
Okay.
Yeah.
And out of curiosity, and I'm sure a lot of us want to know is, did you like save up money and were able to just live in the Big Apple without
You know what?
working, or-
I think God blessed us. It definitely blessed me in a huge way because at the time, we had bought my parents had bought a house, and again, this was prior to the
Oh wait.
08, 09, the crisis.
and I remember that my parents sold it maybe like a year before that.
Wow.
So they made a nice profit.
They cashed in, right?
They
Yeah.
cashed in.
And they were able to help me out with that cash.
Wow.
Yeah, with
Wow.
that money. And so when all that happened, when all these banks, Bernie and Mary Lynch
Lynch,
and
The brothers, right?
Yeah.
they went down. I was
yeah.
in New York. I actually got to see people walking out their buildings with their stuff.
Oh my
yeah.
goodness,
Wow.
what
How
an
was that
experience.
experience?
It was scary, but
Yeah.
I was in school and I knew that it was going to be tough right after that, after I graduated. But I was like, you know what, I do have experience, and this is when I'm saying it really helped me out.
And do you think that your experience combined with your experience in schooling, did that really help you out with landing your next job?
Yeah,
like you weren't just
definitely
a person that just graduated from
Right.
Parsons, but
Or
you're
high school
or
even.
high school even,
Yeah.
but you're someone that has been in the industry.
Yeah,
And
it
is
totally
also-
did
yeah.
help me out. Yeah,
Lehman Brothers went out, right?
Lehman
Like,
Brothers.
It's $1 billion hedge fund.
Yeah, it was
like, just went
crazy.
under. That's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah. So I did my 4 years, and I graduated, and then I started working out there.
Where did you work in New York?
You know what? I did a lot of small designers, and I
Okay.
learned a lot just because the industry works a bit different out there. If you need a fabric, if you need a trim, if you need a zipper, if you need whatever it is, you just go, down on 7th Street and 7th Avenue, and you find everything that you need.
It's kind of like the fashion district in LA where
It's a little bit, yes, yeah.
Kind
It's
of.
kind of, yeah. It's just that, stores in New York. They have a lot more.
Because I did a website design and photography for a designer, and I know that we got a lot of trim, a lot of fabric from there. But she actually would also have to purchase from New York because they do.
It just doesn't exist here now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think the biggest company that I worked out there for was Ellen Tracy. Okay. It's a women's company. And so, yeah.
But working at a smaller company, would you say that you were able to get more responsibilities? You learn more.
Oh, yeah, you learn more.
Because you have to do more,
you have to
right?
wear different hats. Yeah. I mean, when you're working for a big company like Guess, it's like you're just taking care of one thing, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
And because there's, other people doing other things.
So many
but
people.
Yeah. But and especially, I guess, like there's a lot of people with a lot of experience there, which I'm still learning from them, and but yeah, working for a smaller company, I would say it's really important.
It's very different.
Yeah.
Right? So what made you decide to come back to LA?
Well, yeah, that's the interesting part. So after 6 years of being out there, I started not feeling well.
Was it like feeling homesick?
It was depression.
Wow.
Yeah. So I went through that. I remember I went to the doctor and but it's a tough thing to go through.
Yeah, it is.
And that sort of turned into anxiety. And I think it was because I learned a huge lesson that you sort of have to take care of yourself. And ever since I haven't taken that for granted, your well-being, your physical well-being, it's really important. Yeah. Because I remember I would stay up. So I would go to school in the mornings.
Okay.
Get up at 6 a.m, take the train at 8. And then I was there pretty much all day until 9. Go back to my apartment and start, I would eat, watch TV and do the fun stuff first and then do my homework. But it was, by that time, it was like 4 a.m, easily, it was just 4 or 5 a.m. And so I wouldn't sleep. I would take a shower, eat again, go back to school. And I would, I did that at least, sometimes I would do it twice a week.
Wow.
And I was, I just wanted it to learn as much as I could, and I was like, this is the best way to do it.
It was just like the grind.
I remember going to the library and just grabbing a bunch of books because I was like, I'm going to, read. Yeah. So. And so, and it finally, it got to me. Yeah. I learned that, it's really important to get enough sleep. Your diet is really important. And so, that happened. And it was pretty severe, I would say, to the point where I was like, I need to move back to LA again. And because I was pretty much by myself out there.
Right.
And
that kind of, would you say that kind of pushed you? That was the last straw.
Yeah. Well, let me say this because I think that when I was out there, I totally forgot about the things of God. So I was partying. I was working hard, but I was doing the things that I wasn't supposed to.
You were just living your life.
Had I not done that, I think I don't know, maybe I would probably be in New York.
Still be there.
Yeah, but New York is a crazy place. So I'm so glad that I'm here now, that I'm back at church, that I came back to something that I had left and, that was playing the bass.
Yeah.
So I left New York and...
what year was this when you left New York?
Oh, man. 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's about 8 years ago.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Okay.
And so I left. That put me even worse because I was like,
do you feel like it's a step back?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Did you, by any chance, did it ever occur to you, like, man, like, God, like, why am I going through this?
Yeah.
Did you ever like say, you know what, God, I don't want anything to do with you now because of what I'm going through, or?
Honestly, I remember. I don't know if it was a prayer, but I do remember like when I got to New York, because I grew up in a Christian home.
Okay.
And I saw my parents do the things that Christian people do.
Right.
And so I remember I told, I think, I made a sort of semi prayer.
Yeah.
And I told God, I don't need you because I'm here, like
I made it.
I made it.
Yeah.
And I don't want anything to do with religion or Christianity because I don't want to be like my parents.
Wow.
And so that was like right when I got to New York. I was still young, and so I was very very naive. And 6 years into that, I learned my lesson. I came back I moved to Modesto, which was
Modesto, California.
And I did that because I wanted to move to San Francisco.
Okay.
So I was like,
my girlfriend's from the Bay Area. So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, I'm not going to LA. I'm gonna try to go to
the Bay. Yeah.
yeah. So I started going to San Francisco a lot, and things got even worse because I was running out of money. My parents were like, no, you gotta,
Yeah.
And so finally, I think I was out there for a year, and then I came here. And that's when I remember I didn't have a job. And I remember just being in my car, and I started crying because I was like, wow, like, like 4 years ago, I was like up here. Now I'm like down here. And so again, I think that for the first time I made a real prayer. Right. And I was, I asked for forgiveness, and I told God, I need your help. And I think that's, for me, that was when I really started having a real relationship with God. Wow. That totally changed my life and the way I live my life now. Yeah. And, I remember being there, and I felt this sense that I needed to read the Bible.
Yeah.
So I go to my house. I had my Bible in a box.
Wow.
Because I'm always like moving from one place to another. Yeah.
The life of an artist.
Yeah. and so I opened my Bible on the second book of Chronicles, and I read the title of that chapter, and it said, Solomon asks for wisdom. And when I read that, I was like, whoa, like it was like
perfect.
Yeah, it was just perfect. Like, yeah. And so I read that so many times, like I kept on reading it. And right after that, I started praying, and I was like, God, what do I need to do then next? I need, give me your wisdom. And of course, that's when I was like, okay, I need to go back to church. And 3 weeks later, I was at Church on the Way,
in Van Nuys,
in the Spanish church congregation. Yeah. And I heard one of those sermons that Pastor Frank gives.
Yeah.
And again, I was like, whoa, like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And so I got baptized a few weeks after that.
Right.
And a few weeks after that, I started playing the bass again.
Yeah.
And I got myself into the Bible study.
Bible study groups.
The Angelus.
Angelus Temple.
Bible.
There's a school. It's a school.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a school. Yeah. So I did, I think, 2 years there.
Oh, wow.
Of learning just, the Word of God.
Yeah.
And and so I feel like I'm a much better person now. I read the Bible a lot more. I study it a lot more. Like right now, I'm studying the Sermon on the Mount and what the word blessing means.
Yeah.
In that chapter, because you know how it says, bless is the poor in spirit, for his is the kingdom of God. And what I've learned is that blessed means, if you translate it into Greek, it's closer to the word happiness.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people think blessing is, you're going to be wealthy or economically, financially. But it's about seeking happiness, the happiness of God.
I think that should be the goal.
Yeah.
Like wealth and, whatever society considers success really should be happiness. Like, are you happy with what you do?
Yeah.
Like,
And let the Holy Spirit guide you.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you hear stories a lot about, millionaires and billionaires that
unhappy.
They're unhappy.
And I think that's the consequence. I think if you are able to put yourself in that position, which I think the three of us are, I think the blessings of God start pouring in.
Yeah. And did you think, was there a shift in the way you viewed your career or you viewed your life once you decided to follow Jesus?
Oh yeah. I stopped thinking about myself, that I needed to achieve this and that, and it was more about, okay, if I'm ever gonna have a business, which I am thinking about starting my own business.
That's exciting.
That's very exciting.
That's very exciting.
It's not about creating the Selvin brand or making it big. It's about helping people out,
Right.
Like, if I'm gonna hire 10 people, I want the best for them, and I would instill my Christian values to them,
Yeah. And how do you do that today? Like, I mean, because you're obviously you're a believer, you're a Christian, and
definitely.
you work in this industry.
Yeah.
I don't know the industry very well, but I don't know if there's a lot of Christians in
Like,
the
is there like
there's
struggles?
a few, there's a couple. Yeah. I've met a couple of Christian people.
But it's like is your faith tested like in what you do or not really, or it's kind of like
I feel like I mean, I guess it does, but I feel like I don't feel that way. Like, if I'm being tested, no. So yeah.
you just have more like love, more of Jesus.
Yeah. And that's what I think. It's how can I help people, Like,
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to do what you do, and I mean, you work at Guess, like it's like
great.
the huge brand, and and everybody
They're
knows
big,
Guess.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to someone starting out? Would you say like go to college?
I would
get some
say
experience?
I would say be a little crazy and do what I did. Take a bunch of classes, just random classes that are interested to you.
Yeah.
And yes, get a degree.
Yeah.
And just start working. I mean, I would say for students, I would say get internships a lot.
Yeah.
Do you think networking is like a big thing in this industry?
Oh yeah.
Like knowing people.
Yeah, knowing people, it's pretty big. Yeah.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I would say go to school, get a lot of internships.
Would you say someone who like has no like someone who like has never even thought about fashion, like do you think they need to have certain qualities prior to becoming a designer? Like, for example, someone can't draw, like let's say, or knows nothing about how to dress themselves.
No. I think it's, if you like it, then you should pursue it.
Like, it could be learned.
Yeah.
It can be
Everything can be learned. Yeah. So
That's awesome.
yeah, as long as it makes you happy. That's where you need to be. Does this is
100%.
am I going to be happy doing this?
100%.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you want to start a business. We want to ask you, what's next for Selvin? What are your goals?
Wow. I'm gonna let 2020 go by.
We're all on pause right now, right?
Everything is on pause.
Sort of. Yeah. So I for me, it's right now. I'm heading. I want to settle down. I want to, find the right person for me, and then I think once I do that, I want to start a business.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
because
very
I
exciting.
feel like I still have a little bit of traveling to do next year, so I'm just gonna do that, and I want to come back, and that's it. Yeah, settle down.
Settle down, get your business going.
Yeah,
That's so exciting.
Yeah, we're gonna be having Selvin brand.
Oh, I'm a rock your brand 100%.
You guys better.
100%.
Yeah.
Are you thinking of just how deep are you in? Like, are you thinking just men's clothes, women's clothes, or?
So I've been sketching a few ideas, and it could be men's, it could be women's. Right now it's the whole activewear is very popular, so
Right.
I kind of want to do something like that. Yeah,
exciting.
yeah.
How has COVID affected you
Or
your
not,
career?
You know what? It has. I mean, it has hit the apparel industry pretty big time.
Like jobs wise,
Yeah,
like business.
yeah. But for me, it's been good. I want to say, thanks God. I live in Santa Clarita, so I have to commute a lot. So I haven't been doing that because I've been working from home.
Right.
And I've been doing other things that I wanted to do for a very long time, and just I don't have the time.
Right.
So now there's no church. Well, it's online.
Online, yeah.
But you don't have to dress up. You don't have to get ready, and so I've been thinking about different things, and just coming up with. I've been studying writing, doing a little bit of writing, which I like to do.
So you're constantly learning.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm constantly learning, and so
That's exciting.
That's very
Did
exciting.
I answer your question?
No,
Yeah,
of course, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Absolutely.
And
And I would like to kind of just ask you this question, like,
go for it.
just being to where you are today, just
Very
your journey,
successful,
very successful person. Like, how much would you attribute to your talent and your hard work, and how much would you say that it's attributed to luck or maybe God's blessing in your life?
I think it's just work. You just get up every morning, and I'm a very curious person, and so I think that drives me a lot. My curiosity. I'm always trying to learn, and like just seeing this here, I'm like, wow, like like I want to know, how that works, and like what is that for, and and that's just me. And so, but I think it's just hard work, man.
Yeah.
I think that if you spend some time doing whatever it is that you want to do, you're gonna learn. I would say be organized.
Yeah, that's good.
Be organized, and you'll learn a lot.
That's awesome.
Well, Selvin, we want to thank you so much for
thank
being
you for your
here.
time.
Where can people find you? Where can people find your work?
On Instagram, at Lopez 216.
Lopez too.
Yeah,
Lopez 216.
I'm not very active, but
Right.
Make sure you send some love his
Well,
way.
you're gonna be active with a business.
With a business.
yeah, hopefully soon. Yeah.
So we'll definitely put that out there when you launch that. But we're very excited for your future. And
thank you so much. Thank you guys for having me. So and I really want to hear your story. Because I really do admire him, like the sermons, and it's I'm like, whoa, that's pretty.
Yeah, I've known Angel for a very long time, and gone through ups and downs, and it's a great story.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
I appreciate it.
And I want to hear your story too.
All right, Selvin, thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
much.
you guys.
Yeah.
All right.